Hello, everyone. I'm Dean O'Brien. I'm the Artistic Director of Calgary Pro Musica. And as you can see, I'm here in Calgary broadcasting from my basement where I have been pretty much for the last 4 months of my life. And I'm speaking today with Joel Frederiksen. He's a bass and the Artistic Director of the Ensemble Phoenix Munich. He's speaking to us, and you're in your apartment at home in Munich, is that right?
That's right. I'm in Munich right now. So greetings. Hi, everybody in
We
Calgary.
are talking across the world, which is pretty remarkable. But I'm talking to Joel today because we're getting ready for our live stream concert on July 26th, this coming Sunday. Joel is a familiar face, I think, to most of our Pro Musica subscribers and supporters. He was here, I can't remember if it was 4 or 5 years ago, but it was the first season of our Horizon series. Joel was brought a fantastic program to Calgary. I was really excited to have him back this April, but as we all know, the pandemic, COVID-19 struck, and we, like so many other people, had to cancel our events this spring. So I was very pleased that Joel's been working on a project that we were able to participate in, and for this live stream concert on July 26th. So, Joel, you remember the concert in Calgary a few years ago, and as I recall, it was a lot colder, that February than it is right now.
Yeah, we got picked up in a snowstorm, if I remember it correctly, which is not unusual for it was January, I think, wasn't it? So it was really cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we brought our lutes with us, and I have still a little crack, I think, in one of the instruments. It's repaired now, but the humidity, I remember, was such a big shock, to our instruments there.
Yeah.
That it was really interesting. But that's the way it is, when you travel around the world with these delicate instruments like lutes that are so finely built and stuff.
Well, we had one of the concerts we had just this past January, Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center. Their previous stop was in Florida, and it was literally 100 degrees difference Fahrenheit when they arrived in Calgary this January for their concert. So you're not alone in having to deal with not only our bitter cold, but our severe humidity. But it was wonderful having you a few years ago. It was a wonderful program, and which is why we wanted to have you back this past April. We're glad that we're going to hear you on the 26th. It must be wonderful for you to again be on the stage making music with your colleagues.
Yeah, it's a big relief, because it was a huge disappointment to have to give up the tour to the United States and to Canada. Canada in Calgary was going to be our last stop. And we were really looking forward to it. We, prepared a long time for it, and then it was a huge disappointment to let it go. But of course, now this will be our first concert actually since the pandemic began, and since we had to cancel everything. But we pushed it off to here. We actually originally planned just a live stream. We weren't sure we could have public at all, but then it turned out that we could have some public. And a bit more public in this church where we're doing it than in our normal place, which is in a museum. The Bavarian National Museum is where we usually perform. But this time we're in a very lovely church, which you will see on the live stream. And yeah, are looking forward to it. Our musicians are happy to play again, and we're happy to make music. So.
Great. Well, and I suspect the situation was the same in Europe. You're implying that already. I mean, really everything ended up shutting down. And we're still in shutdown mode. We're all planning on what we can get going next season. We've working hard and working with the university and trying to figure out exactly what we can do, and we'll have those announced pretty soon. But everything pretty much stopped in Europe, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel fortunate because in many places, I think in the world right now, we couldn't do anything at all. I mean, we couldn't even maybe we couldn't even be in the same room and sing because there's 2 singers in this program. But we can do the concert. It's allowed. The people can come in with a mask on. They can take it off though when they sit and they listen, which is good because 1 hour and more with a mask on is just not very much fun. Not very comfortable. So
That's
so
right.
we can have like 100 people in the museum, or not in the church rather, which is great, you know. And like I say, I know there are places where you couldn't do it, and it's the same as it is though for you, I'm sure, in different ways. I mean, for instance, the rules are changing constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, even last week there was a new rule that we could have more people, but now the church is moving a little bit slowly, and so we might have more rows in there, but it might be too late also, because we have to, you know, put the rows in there, and then we have to organize all that too, and number the seats, and, you know, do all these other things. So it looks like right now it's probably going to be, even though there's a new rule, maybe a little too soon to apply it to our concert. And so it's stuff like that too, you know. You don't really know sometimes what the latest rule is, or let's say one hand is not talking to the other always, or or whatever. So, you know.
Well, there's some encouraging signs for sure, but we don't have it all figured out exactly.
Exactly. Who knows? You know, nobody's done this before, so it's a new thing. So we all have to be patient, and also be positive that it's gonna be gone one day, and we can appreciate our live concerts even more then. But the live stream has something also, you know, that we have. It's going to be a really nice live stream as well. We have 4 cameras, a real director directing the whole thing. We have professional sound. Everything's going to be very professional and very lovely. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Really looking forward to it. And you sent me the program last night. I've been looking it over. Sounds very, very interesting. Traveling Musicians, or Musicians on the Road, is the title of the program. Can you tell us a little bit more about it and how you conceived this program? Because you have lots of wonderful programs out there, and I'm curious to know how you came up with this program.
Yeah, well, we do have usually 4 programs a year in our series, which I try to make always new and fresh, different, you know, things. And this time the idea came really from one composer, and even one piece that I've sung many years and I just love, from Giovanni Felice Sanchez. And Sanchez was a Roman composer who worked there for a while, studied there anyway, but moved to Vienna to work in the Habsburg court, and was a highly prized composer as well as a singer. Wonderful, gifted man anyway. He composed a lot of works that are for large forces, but also these intimate chamber pieces. And I sang this one motet for years. It was called O Vos Omnes, with a lot of running notes and some skips, and very expressive, and to my very lowest notes, like low C's, which are very low for a bass, up to the high E, which is a high note for a bass. And, you know, and anyway, Sanchez just takes you all over the place. But always it's something, when you sing about the abyss, you know, you sing down to a low C, you know. Yeah. And when you sing up to the high heavens or whatever it is, then you sing the highest note, you know. So this piece I'm going to do actually in our program, I decided not to do a Vos Omnes. I wanted to discover a new piece. So I have a piece called Dominus Possedit Me, and it's a great piece, and I love it because it also it relates a bit to this a Monteverdi piece that even people could see online if they wanted to see it on YouTube or whatever. It's called Ap Eterno from Monteverdi, and it's the same text except for the first 2 lines. So actually at the beginning I didn't even really notice it. I only looked at the very beginning, and I kind of looked through the notes, and I was looking at the facsimile, which was hard to read. So I was looking at the whole piece, getting an idea of it. And when I looked at it carefully, I realized it's the same fantastic text that the Monteverdi set. And interestingly enough, both for bass voice, with some even of the same kind of effects, you know. So it's a great thing.
Well, that's great. The composer that I most know on this program is Bieber. And of course, he was way ahead of his time. Highly imaginative composer. Tell us about that and what you've chosen for the program by Bieber.
Yeah, well, Bieber is fantastic. We actually, the program we would have done in Calgary was called Passio, and that was very similar to this program, but you would have heard much more Bieber. Yeah. Bieber was kind of the star of that program for the violinist, and with fantastic music. there are pieces actually for voice also, but one of the things Bieber did, for instance, is he changed the tuning of the violin sometimes, and he uses scordatura tuning, which is an alternate tuning for the violin, which is crazy, makes a lot of work for the violinist. but it's wonderful because you can get great effects with open strings and things like that on the violin. Well, we're doing one of the Rosary sonatas, Rosenkranz Sonaten, the Annunciation in this program, which is a really virtuosic, wonderful thing for the first violinist. So it's a great showpiece for her. Yeah, and then another piece we're doing, a Salve Regina. It's not actually the very first performance of this piece since Bieber wrote it, but it's the second one, perhaps. I think it is the second performance because actually our viola da gamba player, who is a very gifted musician and lives in Ljubljana in Slovenia and has been playing with me for years. He was also in Calgary with Requiem for a Pink Moon, Domen Marincic. He reconstructed the soprano part. It doesn't really exist, the soprano part. There's a wonderful viola da gamba, obbligato part. There's a basso continuo part. And so he basically rewrote the soprano part. And so but this is a piece that we know Bieber wrote from his time in Kroměříž in the Czech Republic. And since these Habsburg cities are our theme, that fits perfectly with us. And yeah, so we're doing from Bieber those two pieces. So that'd be great.
Well, that sounds great. And just so everybody knows, we'll be sending the program out ahead of time so you can get familiar with it. There's some great new things that's on the program. I'm really looking forward to it, of course. We've got a couple violinists on the program, singers, and the basso continuo, as you've described. So it's going to be a very varied program, lots of different things to hear. And we're so thankful, Joel, for you letting us in on this project. We're so appreciative to our Calgary Pro Musica community. You've supported us through this time, through all the cancellations and through the end of this season. Our extended community, the folks at United Active Living and all our supporters, we thank you and hope you enjoy this program. You can see it live streamed on Joel's channel at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, July 26th, and it will be rebroadcast that evening as well if you can't catch it at 11 a.m. Joel, thank you for taking the time today to introduce us to the program, and I look forward to seeing you again on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a great pleasure. Thanks a lot, Dean. Great talking to you, and look forward to seeing you and all of you other people out there virtually in Canada. And I hope one day, that we also can return to the Calgary Pro Musica and to real life, let's say.
We're all looking forward to normalcy, returning to our concert experiences, and we also look forward to the time we can have you back live in Calgary. And I'll try and schedule it in a nice spring day instead of dead of winter. But we'll take it from there. Thanks again, Joel. We'll see you Sunday, and wonderful. Thanks again.
Thanks a lot, Dean. Yeah.
Bye-bye.